Please provide your reactions on what you just saw in this clip. You have 2 minutes.
Well, I appreciate her, is this working? Yes. I appreciate her statement about saying she used her white privilege to combat injustice. And that's a unique, another way to say what I was alluding to prior, is that we have the ability to use our privilege. Many of us, where we have advanced degrees, we are in a position of some authority over a large group of individuals, both the youth in this community, but even the students here at Fresno State. And so we have the obligation, I believe, to both understand, recognize privilege, and then to combat some of the detrimental effects of it through education. I noticed on the handout that we received earlier that it talked about access and opportunity. And I think it goes beyond that. I think a lot of people would say, well, we've already provided access and opportunity. What we really need, though, is access, opportunity, participation, and benefit, where we see everybody participating and the benefit of that privilege being seen across all genders, all races, all ethnicities, and as such. Thank you.
Just to echo what Dr. Marshall said, that you need to use, if you do hold a privilege, you need to use it to be a voice every day. If you see a comment on Facebook or a link that is racist or sexist or is intolerant of other religious faiths, that's your opportunity. Yeah, it's your Facebook friend. Speak up. Don't just let it pass you by. You have little opportunities every single day to be the voice for people who have not had a voice for so long. You need to use your voice to be an ally, and acknowledgement and consciousness of institutionalized racism and structural racism. That's not an indictment that you're a racist as a white person. It's just acknowledging that this is our history and this is the way things really are. And I think that people get so scared of offending one another, speaking up, but it is true. Those who are marginalized, when they have something to say, oftentimes they're discredited immediately. Because again, we're so far deep in our privilege often as white people that we can't even imagine why that would be so offensive, that someone wants to touch someone else's hair or that sort of thing, the things that I just take for granted every day. And so it really is just, your voice is powerful, and you need to know that, and you need to use it to enhance the common good and get people into, we're now in the 21st century, and realize that equal opportunity, we've made great strides, but it still doesn't exist, and it can't all be done through policies and laws, especially in a system, like I said, that was formed in our very dismal beginnings. And so just every day, make those commitments to call people out.
My reaction to the video clip is that I'm not surprised at all. Actually, growing up, I experienced, going on those shopping trips with my mom, same types of kind of prejudice, discrimination, just based upon the fact that we were African American. So I'm not at all surprised at the clip. But from those experiences and from how my mother reacted to those experiences, I think it kind of buffered me to go out into the world and have the voice. Because my mother did not at all tolerate it, no matter what the situation was. Even if it's something that's like, oh, I'll just let it slide. No, she always called whoever the person she was interacting with. She would call them on it, escalate it to the manager if she needed to, write letters. So she didn't let anything slide, and I think I kind of carry that with me too. So I admire my mother for that, and I think it's important that we do, like she said, find our voice. You do have a voice, and make sure that you do speak up if you see something that doesn't sit well with you. I think the other piece too is like the students saying, being more conscious of our actions and how we interact with people. There may be things that we're doing that we don't even realize could be offensive to other people. So just being open to hearing those kinds of messages, or open to that understanding. And I think also, since I'm in marketing, thinking about how you, what types of establishments you spend your money at. Money is also another way of voicing your power. So thinking about whether the brands that you consume, that you purchase from, what do they support? What's behind them? Do they have policies or cultures that also propagate this type of privilege? So, thank you.
Thank you. I think when I saw the clip earlier, I told the story about my parents and the way that they were treated when they went into this office, and I think that's really what I was thinking about, because, you know, at that point I said when that happened, I was already a doctoral student. I had many years of education fighting for these type of things, but it was funny though, I always made a distinction between the academic setting and sort of like the real world, almost as if they were separated. Yeah, this happens in the academy and this happens in the university, but it's still different. There's a different level of protection. And I think that's one of the things when I saw this clip and just thinking back, I didn't stick up for my parents because I was shocked. I was caught off guard. I didn't expect that they were going to be treated this way in front of me. And so that's sort of one of the things that I was thinking about, is that, you know, there isn't a distinction. You know, you all can have, you know, PhDs, but you may have the wrong skin color, and one day you're not wearing your tie or you're not wearing your glasses, and you may experience some of these things the same type of way that, you know, that my parents experience them each and every day. So, thank you.
Oh, the clip, I don't know if I can really express how it makes you feel, but I think the word that comes to me most is the sense of powerlessness that people in those situations, and I say this if I'm not one of those people in those situations, but there's a strong sense of powerlessness that was expressed by the woman, how she just could not, she was not in a position to change that cashier's way of thinking about her, and it is disheartening to know that that still continues, that it really does continue today. But I think what's even more discouraging to me, and I know this sounds may sound a little odd to my Caucasian white friends and colleagues, is that we still continue to feel powerless when we have to be rescued by those who have the privilege. And it's still just not enough, that we shouldn't have to walk with our friends who are of privilege to help protect us and help us to gain our sense of power. And I don't think that we've come far enough yet in this country. It's just, and I do thank my friends, I do thank my colleagues, and I thank those who have the privilege, who can help educate others, but it's still just not enough for us.
Thank you. So at this time, we have about 3 or 4 minutes to open up to the audience for questions or comments. And if you do, raise your hand. I'll call on you if you'd like to stand up and introduce yourself and ask a question to our panelists. Nobody? Okay. Ask it if you want. Oh, Mike will ask it if you want.
I just have a question for Dr. Marshall. Have you ever used what you know to be your white privilege to educate, like the lady was saying on the video? Or even like when you were at Marshall's and you knew they waved you by because you were a white man, did you go back and like tell them, you know, I could be just as capable of stealing?
No, not at that particular time. But I think I do use, I've used, my best example is probably my 3 kids. And I'd like to think I'm a role model to them, much like many teachers are role models within the classroom. That's why I talked about the importance, I think, of education. And I have with my kids, absolutely. It's pointed out. But it wasn't until they were later, and they're all college age now, but it wasn't early on, because I didn't recognize it myself early on. You know, even though I was born with it, with this privilege, I didn't recognize it. It wasn't until probably even the late 90s. I worked here for several years, but I got involved. I was a PI of a grant project with UC Merced. Well, then it was just UC. A project called Fresno Nexus with a PI with two gentlemen. One was Robert Daviar from the UC, and another one was this young new person to higher education. His name was Joe Castro. He's now our president.